Alright boys, my name is Spinky, and this is the Mini Banshee. A 3 to 4 man group built for the chatty players that are going to dominate the server. This base is fully prepared to fill up with guns, sulfur, rockets, and anything else you boys acquire. You boys can go to sleep peacefully, knowing that this base is going to defend your loot in an offline raid. And during an online you'll confidently win it because the shooting floor and peaks are just too good. And the starter is super simple to build, and so is the main base is super easy to progress all the way through. The small build cost and the nice daily upkeep makes this base manageable and perfect to live inside. Plus this base can boast a nice raid cost due to 2 armored bunkers and loot being spread across every level of the base. The base is available to load in using this code on Builder's Sanctuary, but if you guys can't be bothered, I'm going to break down the main features that make this base perfect. For starters, we've got 2 armored bunkers that you open from underneath. Each bunker is 3 triangles big, so you can fit a lot of boxes, maybe a couple of batteries, or anything else you'd like to fit inside. Next up, we have a layer of inner peaks inside our shell that provide perfect angles and they cannot be laddered through. There's also a set of 4 roof peak-ups that provide perfect angles onto the roof, and it's really hard for raiders to shoot back at you from these points. Then there's a minicopter garage where you can store your minicopter perfectly. This can easily fit 1 minicopter without any problems at all. Looks good. And don't forget this base is 3 TCs big, 2 externals, 1 main. Each of our externals are disconnectable and they each come attached to a nice gatehouse. And before we continue with the rest of this video, please consider giving one of my Rust survival story videos a chance. They're super good and I put the same effort into these as I do the base builds, and hopefully some of you guys are curious to see how I can do with guns as a comparison to what I can do with bases. Also boys, we're bordering on 10k, let's just go ahead and hit that milestone because it'd be fucking awesome. Channel's been doing mad recently and I'm just really happy with how everything's going, so I appreciate you guys for coming in and watching the videos, and I'm going to try and branch out to some more fun stuff, so keep an eye out for all that. Just to summarize, let's hit 10k and let's get on with the rest of the video. Before we continue, big thanks to Skin Cashier for sponsoring this video. Skin Cashier is the perfect place to sell your Rust and CSGO skins for real money. And if you guys use my link, you'll get 3% more for your skins. The whole process is super simple and they have loads of different payout methods. Just select the skins you'd like to sell, hit accept trade, and then confirm, and instantly you'll have cash in return for all your skins. Thanks again to Skin Cashier for sponsoring the video. Keep in mind boys, every time you hit that link and check out the sites, you do support me, so if you want to do that, please check out the link in the description. Alright boys, let's tour the base. We'll start out with our disconnectable TC. They're connected by the ramps, and if you break the twig ramp, then the TC disconnects. There's space in here for a locker and your TC. Heading into our gatehouse, we've got a couple of peaks that we can use to look into our compound. These are great for raid defense, and you can head glitch raiders that are inside the compound or around your base. There's also windows on the opposite side to look back out of your compound. Underneath the gatehouse, we've got 2 turrets that cover the compound as well. This base has got 2 symmetrical entrances, and there's a vending machine on top for drone only shops. Inside the compound there's also plenty of space for deployables, large furnaces, refineries, or anything else. And we've got some more turrets scattered around the base behind chain link fences. Heading inside the front door of the base, we can either go all the way up to the top, or we can enter our shell. We're going to go ahead and take the mobility chute first. Our mobility chute gives access to our drone only shop. There's also a peak that we can use to look into the shell. And we have a door that takes us into our peak downs. It also leads right to the top of the shooting floor, and there's a locker beside for storing kits. That's the entrance to the peak downs. Now we're going to head all the way down again to the shell. Inside the shell we've got space for boxes, furnaces, bags, or anything else. We also have 2 turrets that cover the whole thing perfectly. Standing on top of those turrets gives access to a ladder hatch that will quickly take us up to our peak down floor. This is super useful and only you can use it. The raiders won't have access to the ladder hatch, nor can they stand on top of your turret. Just a quick way up and down from your peaks to your shell. Heading round the shell we have the entrance to our 2x1. The main 2x1 is really not that important. It does have our TC inside, however the base is multi-TC, so it doesn't matter if we lose that. Inside the 2x1 we have some dropbox loot rooms and basically just starter items. You can also house lesser deployables that you don't really care about, such as research and repair bench. And then we can head down the winding door path towards your main TC. Inside this area only house your TC, and hopefully raiders will hit first floor assuming they've gotten everything. The 2x1 will also be your starter unit, but make sure to move everything important up to the bunkers. Heading up once more takes us to the peak downs floor, and there's also space for some beds. There's also drop boxes and lockers on this floor as well. 2 single doors help to split up the peak downs, and we've got 2 turrets covering the peak downs floor as well. And you can't actually ladder through these peaks, which is a bonus. Heading up one more jump up is going to take us to our bunker floor where our main loot is going to be kept. This floor has our tier 3, 2 bunkers, a couple of lockers, a loot room and a bedroom. Once again, the bunkers are massive, plenty of space for boxes, batteries or anything else you can think of. Vending machines as well for extra storage and a spot for bags. Remember to hide a flame turret underneath your ramp so that the bunker closes automatically. Out the double door takes us through to our shooting floor. In this section we've got door peaks to help bridge the gap between our white gaps. There's also 4 roof peak ups that provide angles onto the roof where there are no blind spots. The shooting floor is massive, easy to run around and there's plenty of space for multiple players. There's also endless angles that you can use against raiders to get some easy kills. This ladder hatch here takes us back down the mobility chute, and we can also use this peak to stare at our gatehouse. The whole shooting floor is a perfect ring so you can run all the way around with ease. Outside of our main core we have a ladder hatch that leads up to the roof. On top of the roof we have a minicopter hangar, multiple peaks that you can use to shoot out, and nice spots for tards to hide to cover the roof. You can still take advantage of your wide gaps from on top of your roof, and you can get some really nice head glitches from up here. Inside the minicopter garage we've got room for 1 minicopter, however you can leave some scattered around the top of the roof that will be exposed. Hopefully you boys think this base is really good, and if you guys are building for a 3 to 4 man then you're definitely sticking around for the tutorial. Let's go ahead and break down the costs and then we'll move on to the tutorial. If you want to build the entire base exactly the same as the tour, then this is what you'll need to build it. This of course includes all the doors, even the compound, literally everything. Second up is the box amounts, so this helps you envision roughly how much farm you need to do. This is how many boxes of each material you'll need to build the whole base. Finally, this is the total upkeep that we're going to spread between the 3 TCs, that's 2 externals and 1 main. Alright, let's get on to the building part of the video. We're going to start off with a 2x1 and that's going to be our starter base. And once you've got your 2x1 down, you can add any kind of doors you want in the airlock. You can do 2 double doors or a single in there if you want. Once you've made your decision anyway, go ahead and place your TC in the back right corner. And then once your TC is placed, throw in the rest of your deployables. Then you can live out this 2x1 until you're ready to start expanding. I'm going to start expanding now. Once you've built your jump up, you can add a shelf beside your TC. And a door frame in front. Now we need a way back into our base, so we'll build a jump up on the opposite side. And then our second floor is going to be the 2 squares and the 6 triangles. On this level we'll have 2 triangle loot rooms, so we'll build those now. And we'll place in some boxes before we place our windows in. I swapped the layout a little bit from the tour. I think it's easier to have the jump ups beside each other and the loot rooms beside each other. Once you're ready to continue, we're going to add the jump up above the one down to TC. Then you can add door frames in between everything else. I find that a tier 2 and some bags fit here quite nicely. And if you're playing as a 4-man, then unlucky to the guy who didn't get a bag. Once you've got everything looking like this, throw a roof on top. Of course you can leave out your jump up. Okay, that's the second floor of the base done, and the first floor, don't forget to throw some doors on. And this floor is pretty simple. We're going to have a jump up in the middle across from our jump up. And this jump up leads to the bunker floor if you remember. On the sides of our jump ups we've got bedrooms, so let's build those. This one's a slightly smaller bedroom, there's only room for 1 bed. And this one's a little bit bigger, you can get a locker and a box in here. And round the back is our entrance to peek downs, so we'll add in a door for that too. Then just upgrade everything to stone. Or anything else, upgrade it to something. Then you can throw a ceiling on top of this. And I forgot door frame here, so do that. And then we'll just throw an airlock on top of this. And then we can just throw an airlock on top of all of this. Make sure this wall is soft side facing in the way because it's going to be useful for the bunker later on. Then once again, get all your deployables on this section. In order to take the base any further, we need to expand the footprint and create our shell. So let's go ahead and start off with the multi-TC. Face the top of your roof exit and we're going to place in a hexagon. This hexagon needs to be multi-TC'd with a small gap over here, so we're going to build out with 7 squares. After the 7th square, we're going to add a triangle, break everything and build back with half moons. And boom, now we've got our little hexagon here and we can't place this one in because there's a small gap. We'll keep the hexagon and we'll break everything else. These 3 triangles are going to be one of our entrances to the base. Go ahead and upgrade it all to stone. The great thing about this base is everything is accessible, so you can upgrade it at any pace you want, and you can access everything to upgrade later on. Right now this section is going to be decaying, so we're going to connect it to an external TC. We're going to start off by building 3 twig squares out the way from our hexagon. We're going to break the first 2 because they're going to get in the way of wide gapping, and we can upgrade the 3rd one and we'll connect these via frames and floor frames. Don't add any foundations here because you're going to mess stuff up. And once you've done that, we'll add a raised square, followed by 2 lowered triangles on the left and right. The triangles are our turrets and the square is where our doors go. And this is the new standard gatehouse. I'm sure you guys remember how to build it. Whenever you're ready, throw in your doors and add your turrets underneath. Now, we've not actually fixed the decaying problem. All of this still needs to be connected to an external TC, so we'll go ahead and do that now. We can start off with a lower twig square, followed by an upgraded square. Then you can add triangles all the way around, and add in your walls and your door frames. TC is going to go in the middle triangle. And then we can add in a locker and some windows. That's our external TC built. Now we need to connect it to the gatehouse, to the base, and to everything. Start off with a lower ramp in here that's going to stay twig. Keep this twig as we're going to use it to disconnect. Then you can stand on top of your gatehouse, press R, and upgrade this ramp. Break the foundation underneath. And this is our connection, and that's a broken connection. Then you can add on your doors, windows, place a locker and store some kits inside. And a couple of siren lights couldn't hurt to block placement either. Now that we've built that, we need to build it again on the opposite side of the base, so go ahead and do that and follow the exact same steps. And that's both of our external TCs built. Let's go ahead and complete the footprint and join up all the gaps. Start by placing a square on the opposite side, followed by 3 triangles. You can upgrade these and repeat the steps on the opposite side. Then make sure you stand on your hexagon and we'll add in 2 squares. Then 2 triangles. Then break the squares and upgrade the triangles. And repeat on the opposite side. Once you've done that, we're actually going to add in 2 more triangles on these sides here. We're going to place turrets on these later on and add in frames to cover up gaps. And that's the entire footprint for the base. Keep this in mind. Obviously there's wide gaps as well. Next we're going to work on the entrances and the mobility chutes first. Come over to your frames where the connection is and we're going to add windows on either side. Then you can add a door of your choice on the left, single or double, with a wall to the right. On the left hand side, we're going to add in a jump up. And a couple of door frames. Then you can throw a ceiling on top. And we're going to add in frames over here as well. Next, on the right hand side, we're going to add in a window. And on this side, we're going to add in a door. Then you can add walls in between. Place a jump up on this triangle and door frames in between. And then a ceiling on top. This door can either get a vending machine if you have one, or we can just add a single door in for just now. And you can use it as a little bit of an early game defense. It's completely up to you, just add in whatever you'd like. On the next level of the chute, we're going to add in a door frame above our window. And this is going to lead out to peak downs. We can also raise these frames up. And that's as high as these frames go. Next, we're going to add in a half wall with a window frame on top. In this section here, we're going to have a locker. And above us, we're going to have a ladder hatch frame. Then place in your final wall and your ceilings. And that's one mobility chute built. We'll go ahead and build the exact same thing on the opposite side of the base. And now that we've built those, we're going to move on to the turrets on the opposite sides. Face your square and look at the triangle straight ahead, and we'll add in some walls. Then you can throw in a door frame. And this is where our turret jump up is going to be to peak downs. We can go ahead and raise this up by one more. And you can cap it off with a triangle ladder hatch frame. Then we'll build another one of these straight ahead. Now we're going to fill in the gaps in between our shell. Once we've got that built on both sides, we're going to add frames on either side. In here we're going to have first floor turrets, so keep that in mind. Then add a roof and a wall. And make those two on the opposite side. And once you've got your base looking like this, we're going to add in walls on the left and right on the open triangles. These frames should do a good job covering up the gap, just rotate them until the gap is smaller. Let's continue building the shell until it's the same height as the mobility chutes. For starters, we're going to add in some more frames. After you've placed in those frames, we're going to add in two more. We only need to raise these frames up on this side where the gap is. After all the frames are placed in, we'll throw in some walls. And this triangle can also get walled in with a shelf. Everything in twig is what we just built, and we need to do that on the opposite side and upgrade it. And hopefully this is what your base is looking like so far. To continue, come inside of your core and we're going to start building our peak downs. This is completely up to you. You can either have a gap in the middle, between the three triangles, or you can have a gap down the side, and you can use this as an extra peak. The first one's more stable, however this one provides an extra peak, so just make your decision now. Then whatever you chose to do it on the opposite side. Then from this point we're going to add in two triangles. And the same on this side. In the middle we'll throw down a square. And then again two triangles. And those are our peak downs for this floor. These bigger gaps are going to need siren lights. Once you've done that, come on top of your base and we're going to start adding in our floors. This side's super easy, so we're going to add in a square and 2 triangles. And the same on this side. In between here, we're going to add in 2... On our 3 triangles, we're going to add 2 single doors. And beside those, we'll add in frames. Then you can place your ceiling on top. And we want to have our triangles. Then you can place the 3 triangles on top with a gap on this side. Then we're going to fill in the final 4 squares. Start by taking a frame and pulling it back towards the core. You should have a gap towards the shell. Then once you've done that, we'll place a square inside the frame. If you've done it correctly, then you should have higher stability on the square and less stability on the square floor frame. Once you've gotten to this stage, we can start designing the bunkers and this whole floor. Start off building the bunker opposite your airlock. Place in a wall, and have the soft side facing you. Then we can wall in the rest of the bunker. So all the walls should be soft side properly except for this one. Then on this side we'll make a shelf, and we'll carry the shelf along. In the back corner, add in a frame. In the back corner, add in a frame. And again, make sure this frame is rotated to cover the conditional. On the opposite side, we have a gap, so we're going to go ahead and upgrade the frame. On this side, we still have a gap, so let's place in another frame. Again, rotate it to activate the conditional. We don't want any gaps in our bunker, and the best way to do that is to upgrade everything to armored. Now you can see there's 0 gaps inside the walls of our bunker. Let's build this bunker on the opposite side. You should see that you already have the soft side wall placed, so let's continue from there. Now we have both of our bunkers made, we'll go ahead and add a ceiling on top. On the triangle where we have 2 walls and a frame, we can just place our triangle. However, on this side it's a little bit different. We're going to clip the first floor towards our feet. And then we're going to clip the second floor towards that triangle. And you should have a nice big gap that runs down here. If you've done that correctly, your bunker will open. Then repeat that on the opposite side. Bunkers are really the hard part of this floor. Now that we've built that, let's go into the easy stuff. This end of the base over here is going to be our entrance to shooting floor. And we have 2 entrances. This extra square over here can either be a bedroom. This extra square over here, and this extra square over here can either be a bedroom or a loot room. And the triangle beside it will be used for a battery. Not gonna lie, I might have fucked up before, but don't worry, I'm saving it now. In this section, you actually need half wall and then a window. And you need to do that on every single one of the triangles that are on the corners. So yeah, don't forget to have your roof pickups made, and if you see me without these, it's because I forgot for a little bit. Again, make sure you rotate this window to cover the gap. Then you can either add in a triangle or leave it open depending on what you're building. The square next to our bunker with the armored frame is going to be left open so that we can have a floor. This square right here is going to be left open because it's got the armored frame next to it, so it's where we open our bunker. However, we can add in a wall and 2 door frames. This is also the path that leads through to our shooting floor. To avoid any confusion, we'll just finish off the whole path. And you can upgrade all of this twig to whatever you want. Again, we're looking to cover up any gaps we see. Now you can replicate what we did on the opposite side. Keep in mind the side with the armored frame needs to be left open because it's where we open our bunker from. Then just place frames in the center anywhere you can. Start by filling in the inner 2x1. Then you can fill in the squares and the triangles. And we left these 4 squares till last just to remind you exactly how to do it. floor frames first that get pulled back towards the core, then a floor after. Beside your bunkers, make sure you only place in one roof, and clip it towards the core. Do not add in a frame for this one or else you'll break the bunker. And that's the bunker floor completed. All we need to do now is create our shooting floor and throw on a roof. To start off the shooting floor, we're going to face the base and start doing our wide gapping. From our gatehouse, we're going to walk forward and add in a hexagon. On the left and right, we're going to add in triangles. And then we're going to do a pattern of square triangle, square triangle. We don't need the squares. And all of that can get upgraded. And then the twig frames that I've placed can get raised all the way up. And repeat those steps on the opposite side of the base. Once you've added in all the frames for the wide gapping, we'll start building our shooting floor. Come to your exits beside your bunkers and place in 2 triangles. Then just fill in the rest as follows. From there you can add windows all the way around the perimeter of the base. On these sections here, just add in half walls to top it off. And then we can add in some frames around the shooting floor for stability. Beside your roof peak up frames, you're going to need some double doors. And then from this point, we can build all of the roof peak ups. Place a triangle floor frame inside and then wrap them in half walls. Then just do that 3 more times. Beside the entrance to your bunker, we're going to add in 2 frames. And then a ladder hatch frame that we'll actually use for a ladder hatch. Once you've built all of that, you can add a floor over everything else. And this is what the base should be looking like so far. Next up, we're going to finish off our roof exits. Start by placing 2 windows and a door. Then you can add a ceiling on top, and we're actually going to build windmills above here. Then once your exits and windmill towers are built, we'll move on. Beside your bunker, we're going to see a massive gap, so we're going to place in a roof. This roof can be upgraded to metal, or if you really want to cover up the gap, you can upgrade it to armored. However, that's kind of expensive, and I do like symmetry, so if I was going to do that, I'd upgrade them both to armored, and this one provides nothing. But if you've got the spare high coal, why not? Realistically, this can be left stone, no one's going to know to break it unless they've seen this video. Then we can place the rest of the roofs from underneath. They're all going to be facing back towards the base. The roofs go triangle, square, triangle, just like the floors. Then there's just one last thing in the center to build, a minicopter garage. Then from there just add in a couple of final touches, and that completes the base design. Hopefully you boys did enjoy this video. If you did, please feel free to leave a like and drop me a comment. Remember to sub if you're sound. Check out the link in the description for me if you can. And I'll see you boys in the next base build. Goodbye.